If your year was a furrowed brow, why would it be that way?
Why would it be that? One of the things that we did in our PLC today is we know that in order to look forward, one of the things leaders often miss is taking time to look back. And we often, if we do reflect, it's we're looking from one singular focus, like did it hit the scorecard? Did we get our KPIs? And what's often missing is what's actually causing the goals to be hit or missed. What's the pattern? What's the thing beneath the thing? And if we're not present to it, you can't deal with it because you don't even know it's there. It's like a fish doesn't know it's in water, but a whale comes up for air and knows it's in water. And so, where as leaders can we come up for air so that we can look back, notice the pattern, and decide to repattern so that the results we want are actually available to us?
Well, and you said it, the oftentimes we don't even realize the patterns that are being created if we don't take that pause. And there was someone in our program that said, an organization that's addicted to pace and chaos will never learn from the mistakes.
No. And one other participant that really struck me was when she said, I think I'm the cause of a lot of my problems. These stressors that I'm complaining about, the things that are ongoing, I'm actually at the bottom of. And what a lot of this allows people to do, these moments of reflection, allows you to actually have agency, AKA power. You can be cause in the matter. You can change the outcome if you have some awareness in it, and you can own the action that you did or did not take in those moments.
Yeah, we often say awareness is the entry point to transformation. And so to have some of those insights occur is a very important part of the process. I want to talk about the first exercise, or one of the first questions that we asked. Would you rather?
Mm.
Would you rather hit all of your targets even though it's misaligned to who you are? Or would you rather miss half your targets but be fully aligned? What was your answer?
My answer 10 years ago was A. And now it's B. So A was the hit all my targets, but B misaligned because I really held my identity, my value, my contribution, and my meaning behind hitting a scorecard. What it got me was a near death experience. I was so
Mm.
misaligned. I wasn't taking care of myself. I was so focused on the scorecard, and it was actually at odds with the values that were being espoused and activated inside that organization that it did something to my body. And so now I know I'd rather pick alignment and do what I do well with energy and enthusiasm as opposed to being drained and having no meaning. What about you?
Well, before we transition to me, that comes with the gift of experience. What's the value that a near death experience has given you?
The value that a near death experience has given me was that, Jayson, this will make you cringe a little bit. On that literal deathbed where I had a social worker at the base of my bed asking for a personal directive, I was still trying to crush out KPIs.
Hmm.
And it didn't even hit me in the moment, but a day later when I realized the gravity and the seriousness of my condition, I asked, is this really worth it? Like, how, when my life is on the line, is it worth it? And you know who didn't show up to my bedside? Any of the people I was crushing KPIs for.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the people outside of that, where I was doing like service work or volunteer work, those people showed up. And those are the people who were aligned, who had a similar vision or goals for impact. And they cared beyond the number. And it really brought to my attention the importance of caring beyond the number for the work and for the people inside the work. And without the people, the work doesn't get done. So you need to care
Well,
about the people.
yeah. And we said that in our session. It's not like the numbers don't matter, the numbers play a very important role. But if the numbers are driving patterns that aren't congruent with who we are and what we want, that's the question. Are they worth it?
Mm-hmm.
The near death experience for you was an invitation to repattern, which was a big concept from our work today.
Mm-hmm.
What's hard about repatterning?
What's hard about repatterning is your biology. Practice makes more permanent. So you've done all these things, you've thought all those thoughts, and you've done it repeatedly. And so the fastest path for the action or the thought is the one that's most practiced. So when you're in it and that pathway fires first, you sometimes get the same response. Now, when you want to repattern and you create awareness, you can actually step outside that neural pathway and start intentionally creating a new one. And it's sometimes uncomfortable and it's sometimes wobbly and sometimes you're not very good. In fact, most times you're not very good when
Yeah.
you first start. But it's an access point for a new pattern because it's your brain has so much to do with it. What fires together wires together. And if you want something different to wire together, then you have to notice the pattern, step outside of it, ask some pretty clear and critical questions so you can see, okay, well, what needs to be different? How does my
Mhm.
identity need to shift? What lie have I bought and resold to myself that isn't true, that I'm living as if it's true, that's actually creating outcomes that aren't aligned with what I want to create in my leadership or in this world?
Repatterning, incredibly difficult, incredibly important. It often won't happen without reflection. If it does, it comes through the doorway of a nightmare. From this session, what did you take away around the the entry point that's most effective?
We actually did two pre-work exercises that really opened people's eyes and minds to what was possible. One was the annual leadership review, where you talk about your like 3 wins and what you were doing that supported that, or what you were doing that got in the way with that, and 3 pains. For me, my win and my pain were the same thing. They just had 2 elements, and that can happen for anyone. That's not limited to me. Um, Sometimes your greatest wins also come with some really strong friction and rubs. The other pre-work we did was 31 questions, and it focuses on different areas. And the question that jumped out at me for my leadership was, where did I delegate effectively? And where did I step in, delegate ineffectively,
Hmm.
and take control and limit the growth of my people? And those kinds of questions that give you reason for pause, and you actually have to think and look back and be really honest with yourself, ruthlessly honest, because if you aren't clear and honest with yourself, there's no room for that reflection or opening. Don't go surface, go deep. Take another level down.
Yeah, and I think that's the value is we can have intention to be really ruthlessly honest with ourselves. But even then we're still limited by our biases and our current lenses. Even when I was sharing a stressor that I was
Mhm.
experiencing and you were asking me questions, as I talked out loud, I started to realize other themes or things I hadn't considered yet. And so it's not only the act of reflection, but it's also how you partner with others to evolve that reflection, make meaning of that reflection that can easily be missed.
100%. What would you recommend to people that know that they can self reflect, but there's a benefit to reflecting with others? What steps would give them the best result for co reflection?
Well, I think starting with your own reflection to unpack some of the things that you think are important, and I use that word intentionally. I think this is important.
Mm.
But when I start engaging in discussions with a trusted partner about this, giving them the permission to challenge me to see things in a different way, in different perspectives, is what's going to enable you to take it to the next level.
Yes. And one thing you said there that really hit home for me is someone that you're willing to let you be asked by them the challenging questions that you won't be offended by, that it's an opportunity for learning rather than offense.
Yeah. The ones that can ask you the hard questions, that maybe have seen you in your space, that can counterbalance some of your perspectives or beliefs with some visible behavior, can be very helpful. But again, you have to have that trusted relationship. There's a question that was asked at the end that is one of the confronting questions. And I believe confronting questions are the ones that stimulate some of the best reflection. What are you about to carry into this next year that your future self will eventually have to clean up? What do you think is most powerful about that question?
When you're able to tie your current actions to the cost you'll have to pay in the future, you can really decide if it's the price you're willing to pay.
Yeah. The yeses that we continually say yes to that come at a cost that we have to clean up. The inaction that we take because of our discomfort will eventually grow into something that has to be dealt with down the line. And this is one of the massive values when we can understand the connection to those beliefs, the uncomfortable things that we do now, and the cost and the impact that they have downstream.
What is one thing you'd recommend to leaders who are looking to vision cast for 2026 to do today?
Well, this is something that you and I spoke about. We all want to invest time dreaming, visioning the compelling future. If we do that without creating the foundation of the raw materials, of the things that not only worked and what we learned, but what didn't and what's important about that information, that is the foundation for compelling vision. And if we just spend space in the dreaming, in the visioning, and we don't unpack the raw materials of what just happened and why that matters, then our vision is at risk of being built on a house of cards.
And what do you think often gets in the way of people effectively reflecting and looking at that raw material?
The unwilling, well, one time, I don't have enough time to do it. It's certainly more compelling to dream and move towards what's next, but also the unwillingness to confront the real stuff. I tell you what, you are always at the center of your problems, of your obstacles, and most people aren't willing to go there. And if you aren't, then you're constantly going to be chasing the next better vision rather than building the foundation from all the stuff that you're not attending to in the right way, that you're avoiding because it's uncomfortable, or you're not learning because you're ignorant around your impact of the situation. And that's hard for leaders.
I think it's hard for humans. And the observation that we made in today's session is that if the pattern is on repeat and you are at the center of your pattern, the common denominator is you. And so you have a choice to be at the affect of it and be an object and let things happen to you, or you can be in choice and take action.
Yeah. And what a beautiful space to be in if you're up for playing the game.
Play to win.
Awesome. I think we got some good stuff.
Yeah, there's definitely good 30-second chunks in there.
Great.
Okay.
Thanks so much, Klarissa.
Thank you. Have a
We'll
good
talk to you
day.
soon.
For sure.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.